I was in a train. There was an explosion. And I couldn't remember anything except you.
Anthony, is this your guys' sort of answer to James Bond?
In a way. I mean, look, we were enormous James Bond fans. We have been through our entire lives, but the whole spy genre has always been something that's really excited us and motivated us as film fans. So the opportunity to finally to work in it as filmmakers is very thrilling. But it's also like, you know, if you're going to play in these waters, you have to work really hard to bring something to the table that you think is fresh and compelling and necessary. And that's, I think there's, in many ways, I hope that we were able to achieve that with Citadel.
Priyanka and Richard, great choices for the leads. How did you land on the two of them?
Very differently, right? Priyanka was recommended by Jen Salke. She and Priyanka are close friends. We, of course, knew who Priyanka was and all about Priyanka. She's one of the biggest global stars in the world. And she's got incredible range and an incredible penchant for physical action. And when you're playing these types of characters, that's so critically important. Madden, we met after Bodyguard. I watched all that entire show in one Sunday. I loved it so much. We called him. We had him come in and sit with us and laughed about, how we felt very strongly that he should be the next Bond. And then 2 months later, when Citadel was conceived, we called him and said, hey, you know what? Forget Bond. We think we have the right character for you.
The action scenes are crazy. The two of you have made some of the best action in Marvel, Gray Man last year. What kind of influence did you have? I mean, you didn't direct the episodes I watched. How did you influence the action scenes that fans are going to get to see?
Yeah. I mean, look, we were very fortunate in that over time, as we've made movie after movie and show after show, we've been able to develop an incredible network of collaborators that Joe and I are very inspired by and excited by, and who we've developed a close working relationship with. And through the years, as we sort of hone this collaboration with many of those people, we're allowed to, it allows us to challenge one another, to push one another, and I think rely on the past work that we've done together to sort of build better and better ideas together, and to attempt more and more difficult things. So I think that was something that we really felt like was at the core of the effort here with Citadel, was bringing together that creative team to help build what was possible in this world and in this genre.
Through Agbo, you've worked with Apple, Netflix, now Amazon. I'm curious, the decision to kind of switch over and get into the streaming world, if you both could kind of comment on that for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're platform agnostic. We love all of it. We don't care how people receive their stories as long as they receive them. There's positives and negatives to all forms of distribution. The positives of streaming are its global reach, the resources you have at your disposal, long form storytelling, which helps us break out of the 2-hour narrative mold or the 2.5-hour narrative mold. Because the companies that support streaming are they're successful in other markets, highly successful in other areas, like i.e. Amazon or Apple. There's a tendency to just leave the artist alone because there isn't this incredible pressure on every project that comes out. It's not going to bankrupt the company or get executives fired. And so we have found that it's a very pleasant, work environment, a real quality of life choice.
And again, like Joe said, ultimately we value all of these platforms. Any way a filmmaker or a storyteller can communicate with audiences is valuable and essential. But if you just look at Citadel itself, I mean, Citadel is a completely original story. Not an expensive kind of film story to make, and yet Amazon has committed not just to this series but to to 2 other series being created in India and Italy. I mean, that's a massive commitment on the part of a studio. And there are very few studios that would take that kind of a risk and a gamble. And that's very unique to Amazon in terms of what they're capable of. And we appreciate that as storytellers. And we appreciate that as audience members.
Before I let you guys go, superheroes, are you done with them? Are we going to see you come back to Marvel?
We always surprise ourselves with the choices that we make. We like to, try different things every time out. That's why we went from Marvel to Cherry to the Gray Man, to the Electric State, sci-fi, fantasy dystopian story. So who knows? We love our friends at Marvel, and when the right story comes along at the right time, it can make sense. Right now, we're completely focused on, original stories and our company Agbo.
You acted very out of character today.
Don't worry about me.